when you have to talk to someone who doesn't exactly exist as anyone you hear? And as a side question, is the magistrate still exist, or in the lore is he going to be kind of pushed aside?
As when you're acting, you're always talking to someone, and we use substitution. I mean, at least that's what I do, so that I have somebody specifically in mind that I'm talking to. Whether that happens to be a character, I'll personalize that. I'll use somebody from my own life, so that I'm actually talking to somebody that I know, somebody that I have a relationship with, and I'll find a relationship or find a relationship. I'll use somebody where that relationship makes sense for the person I'm talking to within the game. So that way, where I'm coming from is a place of truth and reality, as opposed to just, talking to something that doesn't exist. Because as an actor, for me, I can't connect to that. But if I want to communicate with somebody, if I want to talk to, like I'm talking to you now, I'm talking to you specifically, and you know that I'm talking to you. So, as far as the lore is concerned, Chris?
Well, right.
Well, yeah.
So, as far as the magistrate goes, at the end of the day, guys, in the original game, the magistrate was really a contrivance to help tell the story, right? It was never intended to be a really fleshed out character. But it's funny that it feels that way, right? Like, in some ways, our tools for telling story in the original game were very crude, right? You play the map, there wasn't a whole lot of story in the map, like you saw with things like Warcraft 3, but you bounce into these glue screens where you had these goofy windows and these little heads, yelling at each other, and the magistrate, it did feel like a fictional part of the universe. But with this game, we wanted to bring the characters a little more forward and not have that half step in between the player and, Raynor, for instance. So we've kind of done away with it, but it does pose an interesting question. Is that character still out there in the lore somewhere? Perhaps.
Also, just to continue with the talking to someone, one of the things that I mentioned about it seemed to go so quick, this whole game, and I'm only there for a couple of days, 3.5, 4 hours, something like that. One of the reasons why it went so quick is because of our director right here, Andrea. She is so freaking good at getting what she needs from the actors and the characters, and bless her as well, she reads with you. So I'm not just blanketly saying words, which you do sometimes in some voiceover situations. You don't get the benefit ever of the other line, just what you're reacting to and what she said. I really want to stress, most acting is reacting. That's what acting is. So it was great to have her in the booth, be able to read not only just your cue line, but read the other characters if there were 5 or 6 paragraphs of lines ahead of that, which you may need as an actor for the situation to be alive in and be reacting to, until such time as your actual line comes up. So I was never speaking in a void. I was always actually speaking, reacting to a very specific voice and a very specific word, which really is a huge help.
Looks like that's going to end our Q&A. Let's give it up again for our panelists.
Where's that at?